Most of us didn't have to learn how to crave, to get angry, or to overthink. A toddler can fight over a toy. A highly educated adult can explode just from feeling disrespected. And sometimes, a single cold glance from someone can haunt us all night. We call it personality, ego, or just the way I am. But the Buddha called it by its true name: craving, tam, anger, san, delusion, sai. Craving is the endless wanting to have, to win, to keep. Anger is the reaction when things don't go our way. Rage, blame, hurt. Delusion is a clouded mind, not seeing clearly, not understanding ourselves. These are not our enemies. They are instincts, like eating when hungry or covering up when cold. But without awareness, instincts become addictions, and addictions become suffering. A Zen story from long ago. A retired general visited a Zen master and confessed, "I've won 100 battles. But now, every day, I lose to myself. I crave people's respect. I get angry when they ignore me. And the more I succeed, the emptier I feel inside." The master smiled and poured tea into the man's cup until it overflowed. Startled, the general exclaimed, "Master, the cup is full." The master replied, "So is your heart, full of craving, anger, and delusion. How can peace enter a cup that's already spilling over?" Seeing these roots is the beginning of freedom. You don't have to be a monk to start. You just need to be honest with yourself. Are you exhausted from wanting too much? Are you angry because your expectations were too high? Are you sad because you've been overthinking everything? You don't need to fix it right away. Just pause and breathe a little slower. That's already a step outside the cycle of suffering. Greed, anger, and delusion are seeds inside every one of us, but if we don't water them, they won't bloom into harmful actions. Thich Nhat Hanh. These days, it's easy for older generations to label the youth as too soft. They say, "Kids these days are too sensitive." Back in my time, life was harder, and we didn't get depressed. They just need to toughen up. What's there to be sad about? But dear friend, this generation isn't weak. They're just growing up in a fractured world, a world flooded with information, but starved of emotional depth. A world where technology connects globally, but disconnects families. A world where old values are fading and new values haven't yet found their roots. Parents give their kids everything, except the one thing that matters most: a soul with strong roots. Many parents sacrifice deeply. They work day and night to send their kids to the best schools. They teach them skills, languages, and how to succeed. But they don't know how to truly be present with their child. They don't listen deeply. They don't touch the heart. They don't model a peaceful, grounded life. So, a generation grows up with empty inner lives, fragile resilience, tender hearts, and no tools to heal. A field left uncared for will grow weeds. The same is true for the young soul. If it's not nurtured with wisdom, compassion, and guidance, it becomes fertile ground for anxiety, confusion, and rebellion. We can't blame them. We can only return and begin again together. Take your child somewhere quiet. Speak without raising your voice. Eat dinner without a phone on the table. Walk into the forest together and teach them how to listen to their breath. Children don't need perfect parents. They just need to see real peace in the people they love, so they know that peace is real. When you light a lamp for someone else, your own path becomes brighter. The Dhammapada. We often assume the more successful you are, the happier you'll be. After all, they have status, money, and the admiration of society. They vacation in stunning places, dine on gourmet meals, and live in luxurious homes. But there's one truth many of them are afraid to admit: they're still deeply lonely. A businessman once said, "I've bought everything I ever wanted, but I still can't buy a good night's sleep." They are high achievers, yet often one emotional collapse away from breaking inside. Because the higher someone stands, the fewer people dare to look into their soul with honesty. The greater the pain, the better it's hidden. The elite, business leaders, intellectuals, celebrities are trained to endure. Since childhood, they were taught to push through, to stay strong, to hide vulnerability. But inside, wounds remain nameless. The pressure to please everyone, the constant need to prove their worth, the fear of losing the strong image they've worked so hard to build. They excel at everything except one thing: listening to and healing themselves. Long ago, a powerful king, ruler of a thriving empire, came to visit the Buddha. He said, "Blessed One, I have everything: palaces, people, victory. But why is there always an empty space inside my chest?" The Buddha looked at him with compassion and asked gently, "When you eat a meal, do you truly taste it? When you enter your palace, do you truly feel at peace? When no one is around, does your heart feel any lighter?" The king paused. He looked down at his hands, hands that had held so much power. And for the first time in his life, he had no words. He simply sighed deeply, and the Buddha softly said, "Great king, you have conquered the whole world, but the final victory lies within." Why power can't heal us? Because power gives us the illusion that we can control everything, but some things are beyond control. Sudden loss, unexpected illness, the coldness of a loved one, that quiet emptiness at midnight. And when these moments arrive, wealth and titles can't save us. It begins with one honest moment. True healing doesn't need to be loud. It begins in silence, when you dare to admit, "I am not okay." You don't need to tell the world. Just once, tell the truth to your own heart. A strong person is not someone who never breaks. A strong person is one who can sit down and ask, "Where am I really going? What part of myself have I left behind?" And have you ever asked yourself, why do I still suffer, even when I have a home, a job, a car, even love? Why am I not at peace, even though I've meditated, read books, and tried to be kind? The answer lies in three beasts within us: craving, anger, delusion. Craving is when you keep wanting more and don't know what enough feels like. You work hard and that's honorable. But when you keep striving to fill the emptiness inside, nothing ever feels like enough. You love someone, but you also expect them to always make you happy, be perfect, never hurt you. That's not love. That's possession. Craving makes you keep running. Even when you're in a beautiful place, your heart whispers, "Is there somewhere better?" Anger is when you react like a machine, triggered by a bruised ego. Have you ever snapped at someone you love just because they didn't reply fast enough? Have you ever said something hurtful just to put someone in their place? That's not you. That's anger, the primal part of you that just wants to protect itself and win, even if it costs your values. Anger turns wounds into weapons. You don't want to hurt anyone, but you do, just to prove, "I'm not weak. I'm right." Delusion is when you keep running without knowing where you're going. You chase money, validation, success, but one day you stop and realize you've lost sight of what really matters. You live by expectations, by social standards, by what others think. And one day you make it, but you don't recognize the person in the mirror. Delusion makes you forget yourself in the middle of the race. A story from the sutras: the hunter and the little deer. Once, a hunter spent all morning chasing a deer. Sweat poured down his face, his legs grew numb, but he refused to stop. Finally, he caught it and struck it with an arrow. But when he came closer, he froze. It wasn't a wild deer. It was the baby deer he had lost the year before. He collapsed in tears. Just like him, many of us are chasing something out there, but end up killing the innocence and authenticity inside ourselves. So, how do we escape? You can't eliminate craving, anger, delusion overnight, but you can begin to transform them, bit by bit, through the path of ethics, stillness, insight. When craving arises, return to ethics. Ask yourself, will this thing I want hurt someone? Will it bring pain to others? If your desire goes against your conscience or compassion, it's not a dream, it's disguised greed. Ethics isn't a prison, it's a mirror, helping you see yourself before you walk into karma. When anger flares up, return to stillness. Don't yell, don't strike back. Just sit, close your eyes, anchor your mind in your breath. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. You don't have to suppress your anger. Just let it settle, like a lake returning to calm. That's meditation. You don't need a mountaintop, just a quiet moment in your own heart. When you're confused or overwhelmed, return to insight. Ask yourself, if I keep thinking this way, feeling this way, what will it do to me and to those I love? Wisdom isn't about intellect. It's the inner light that reveals distorted paths and helps you stop before it's too late. You are not your emotions. You are the one who can witness, transform, and choose a better path. As the Buddha said, there is no greater enemy than an untamed mind. We don't transform craving, anger, delusion to become perfect. We do it to return to ourselves in peace and freedom. Many people think mindfulness means leaving the world behind, moving to the mountains, eating only plants, meditating under trees, untouched by stress or society. But if mindfulness is only for forests and temples, then who will keep the light burning in homes that are growing cold? True mindfulness doesn't avoid the darkness. It walks into it, carrying light. A mindful person doesn't need to retreat from life. They can be a parent, a worker, a leader, and still live like a candle in the night. They choose calm when others lose control. They choose to listen when the world just wants to argue. They choose simplicity, even in a society chasing too much. A story, The Balcony Gardener. In New York, there was a man who lived on the 25th floor of a busy apartment tower. Every morning, he'd water a small flower pot on his balcony, make tea, and sit in silence. One day, his neighbor asked, "Why don't you go to a retreat center or temple? Wouldn't that be more peaceful?" The man smiled and said, "Peace doesn't come from where I go. It begins wherever I choose to be. Still, and sometimes, one little flower is enough to remind me to slow down." Don't judge spirituality by appearance. A person in jeans, raising 2 kids, working long hours, can still live deeply. If they can calm their mind, react less, and hurt others less, that is spiritual practice. Spirituality isn't about robes or rituals. It's about how you bring light into every place you touch. Mindfulness means knowing you're holding a knife before it cuts someone. Some wounds don't bleed. They stay in a person's heart for years, unhealed. Mindfulness doesn't mean you're always peaceful. It means you're aware when you're about to cause pain and choose gentleness instead. A story, The Broken Vase. A father came home one evening, tired and stressed. His child ran to him with a crayon drawing. "Daddy, I drew you." But the father didn't look. He snapped, "Not now." "I'm exhausted." The child quietly walked away and dropped a porcelain vase. It shattered. The father turned around. But what broke his heart wasn't the vase. It was his child's sad face and the drawing on the floor with messy handwriting that read, "You're my superhero." Mindfulness doesn't require perfection, just the awareness to pause when you're about to hurt someone, and the courage to choose softness. No one is perfect, but a mindful person will always apologize when it matters, listen when someone needs to be heard, and place love above pride. Mindfulness is turning inward to transform, using ethics and compassion to curb craving, using stillness to calm the fire of anger, using insight to see through delusion. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need instant enlightenment. Just cause a little less suffering today than you did yesterday, and you're already walking the path. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi,